It's interesting because I'm like sitting here in this, what's gonna be like a future studio, you know? Gonna have like a painter studio, probably like a silversmithing studio. And it reminds me of like my roots, like where I came from. I was born in the 70s, and by the time I was 9 years old, the people around me considered me an artist. And I realized at that time I was really into dinosaurs. When I was 9, I was the smallest kid in my class. Most of the students were a head taller than me. I was so little. So I identified with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, big time. I was like, I want to be the tough guy, you know, and the Incredible Hulk was my favorite superhero, you know. And so I opened up this book and I turned to where the Tyrannosaurus Rex was, and it just fascinated me as a child. I was like, wow, I want to be able to draw a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I went into the cupboard and I opened it and I pulled out a little drawing book that had probably been there for 3 years, barely used. And I drew this Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it was a mess. It was a mess. I didn't want anybody to see it, so I crumpled it up and threw it over there, and I pulled out another piece of paper, and I was like, okay, this time's gonna be better. And I drew it again, and it was so ugly. I started to get like frustrated with myself, and that pile just kept growing and growing until this art book, it was like all the papers were gone. So I dug back through the bookcase and I found this thin little art pad. And it was annoying because I could see through it and the lines and stuff, and it was confusing my brain. Turns out that it was tracing paper. And I moved that tracing paper over the top of that Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I could see the lines underneath. And you know, like 5 minutes later, I had traced this perfect dinosaur drawing. That's what I've been trying to do. I like took the paper and I ran into my mom. She's like, wow, Gerry, that's really good. I think as a child, you know, growing up with 8 children, it kind of gave me the attention that I was craving as a child. And it made me feel like I want more of that. I want the love, I want the attention that I wasn't getting. I was competing for in my family, you know, with 8 kids and 1 parent, you know. So I went back and I just kept practicing and practicing until I could do it without tracing paper. As I learned the art of emulation, the art of copying, the art of tracing, the art of emulating. And today, in my business with ads, I've helped generate countless success stories. It starts off as a little image, and it turns into multi-millions of dollars earned. So like my teachers back in junior high and high school, when I was drawing on my desk, and they're like, you're never gonna go anywhere. If you don't focus in class, you need to get serious. Little did they know that like one of these drawings on my desk could result in millions of dollars being earned. If you can develop your art, your ability to emulate things that work, that are already proven, you can shortcut your path to success. If I showed you a working ad funnel from the ad to the pre-sale page to the offer, if I just showed you today exactly what it is that I'm doing to make $1 million in the next 30 days. It's like the fast track shortcut to success. And it all stemmed from this choice that I made as a 9-year-old. That to see those lines come through that tracing paper. When I got to the end of my university, I dropped out. I don't know what it was, but I felt like I didn't want a degree as an artist. I think I was just doing, at the time I was doing what I was taught to do, and I was surrounded by a society that was telling me that I needed a degree. But I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like I wanted that life for myself. And I thought, you know what? I think I could actually make some money. And so how could I do that as an artist? Well, I decided to take a few more classes on like digital art. And I found this lady, she had a screen printing embroidery company. And my sister told me that she needed a website. She asked me how much I would charge, and I said $1,000. I didn't know how to make a website. I didn't know HTML, but I sounded convincing. When I left there, I was like on cloud 9. I was like, shit, I just made $1,000. First thing is I cash that check, you know, and I take the first $50 to buy a book on how to make a website. And I did. In the next 10 days, I built a really attractive website. And then my next job was $15,000 for a website. The website wasn't enough, and she needed SEO. She needed her website to rank on Google. And by the way, back then, there was no such term as SEO. That wasn't a thing. And so there was nobody out there teaching this stuff. I had to like learn how to do it on my own. I started to reverse engineer the algorithm. I got #1 rankings, and I outranked all the companies that had been in the business for years. And suddenly she got phone call after phone call after phone call for big deals, you know, $500, $2,000, you know, from sororities and fraternities who wanted 500 shirts printed, you know. I had top rankings for some of the biggest terms in the world on SEO for a really long time. Made tons of money off of it and got a reputation. It's not about having a website, it's about how to monetize traffic. You know where like the artists of today, like the most creative minds are today? They're doing relevant stuff. They're like Steve Jobs, and I mean, it's a different kind of artist. I feel like I get more creative release through sitting down and looking at my computer screen and seeing a blank canvas and having an idea spawn from inside. Because if I sat down and I did the same thing with a canvas and I painted something, does it really matter? If people walk by and look at it, they're like, oh, those are really nice colors, those are really neat. But when I create something in business, a system that they could follow that transformed their lives and the lives of their brothers and sisters, their parents and their grandparents, and made them financially wealthy, and it all come from a creative vision that I could have steered it toward a canvas. I chose to steer it toward something that I feel is more relevant in 2020. I feel like I'm still an artist today, even though people would look at me as an entrepreneur or a businessman. I would say that's true, but at my core, I'm an artist. I'm a creator. Older kids get a lot more attention from their parents, doubling their attention down on one child, and that child gets all the attention. By the time you're the 7th kid, mom's like, can somebody else please wipe his mouth? I gotta go to work, take care of him, make sure he doesn't die. You know? And so as a younger child, we tend to be more creative. We tend to like take care of ourselves more and be more independent. The other thing though that I would say that was huge for me later in life, and this happened after I was diagnosed with cancer, because I had to figure out like, why the fuck did I have cancer? I'm 46 years old, like why, right? So I can't go to a doctor and have them tell me why. They're not gonna tell you why. They're gonna say, here's what to do. We're gonna cut it out and we're gonna cross our fingers and we're gonna hope it doesn't come back. And I came to the conclusion that there was something toxic in my environment, my body. I wanna change something, and I'm willing to take massive action to change something about this toxicity that must have led to this young age where I've got a rare form of cancer. So I started investigating everything. I changed my diet, I changed my routines, I biohacked my way to better health, I lost 70 pounds. I went into a spiritual healer and she sat down with me and I explained to her my situation a little bit. And she took me on what I guess it would be known as like a childhood regression. So she could feel that there was an anchor there of some kind, right? Something going on there. And she introduced the 46-year-old version of me to the 7-year-old version of me. And I could relate to this child better because I had my own children who were 7. I had a child who was 7 years old, you know, Abby. And I remember just months earlier, I had told her, you know that I love you? And she goes, yeah. I was like, do you know why I love you? And she's like, I don't know, why? I said, I love you just because you're you. I love you because I love you, because I'm always gonna love you. And I don't care what you do. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to prove anything to me. I'm just gonna love you for your whole life, no matter what. Really? And she got tears in her eyes, kind of like the way I'm feeling right now. And if you don't ever have a parent or somebody tell you that they love you for no reason, you didn't have to be an artist to be the best artist in order to deserve to have attention and love. And as a child, when you're growing and evolving socially, you don't understand that kind of stuff. And so I went through my entire life believing that I had to be the best in order to deserve love, in order to deserve attention. So even in my adult life, you know, it's like I gotta become the best at SEO. I gotta become the best at ads. I become the #1 super affiliate in the world just to deserve attention and love from the people around me. Did I get cancer because of it? Hey, I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that there was something toxic inside of myself because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I was deserving of love, and I felt like everybody was around me just because I was successful or something, and I don't feel that way anymore. It was a beacon within my body telling me that there's something you need to address, and it's important, and it's big. It's as serious as cancer. It took the 46-year-old version of me to go back and interact with this child to see even what this child was feeling. Being healed himself, he allowed to heal the 46-year-old version of myself, and I could feel like this weight lifted off of my shoulders. What you get from being the best at something is you get attention. But the love is separate. People do love you just for who you are. I wish that I had a dad back then who sensed that I needed to hear that back then, and who would have came up to me and told me what I told Abby.